Hello, educators, parents, and friends. If you are new to my channel, welcome. I am Dr. Blissful, and I'm here to give you tips and tricks on elementary education. I am also the author of Breaking Free of Bullying, where I give you strategies to keep your kiddos and you safe, happy, and emotionally well. Today, we're going to talk about uh, 5 things you don't learn in teacher school. So if you are doing your undergraduate work and you're not sure if you want to go into education, these are 5 reasons that you may not want to go into education as a teacher because that's something that they don't address in undergraduate school or in your credential program. So when you get into your credential program, they will teach you skills on management, on organization. They will talk about mostly lessons on how to formulate a lesson plan. They'll have you student teach at a school and make sure that you know all the basics of discipline, all these important factors. And that's all fine and swell. However, what you won't learn might sway you either or if that's something that you're really not into. And I'm going to cheat and look at my notes here. So the first um, number 5 would be there's something called an adjunct duty. So your adjunct duty is in addition to already your 7:30 to 4 time frame that you have to do. An adjunct duty can be social committee where you're working with, I don't know, it depends on how big the school is, 1 or 2 teachers. My school was K3, so I think there was 2 of us. We would have to collect dues from everyone that worked at the school. We would do classified and certified. So classified people are secretaries, support systems, teachers' aides, custodians, and certificated are teachers and the principal and any specialist that comes on board to help. So you would have to gather those dues because remember, you're not working for a firm or a corporate organization that's going to give, like, your holiday parties and pay for it and all these fun activities that you get to do. Teachers have to pay those themselves. So depending on the cost of living and how many teachers are working and how many support, I remember back in the day, I think it was $30 for classified for the year, and then maybe 40 or 50 for certified teachers. Okay, that that doesn't include your Christmas party. That's just like birthdays. If a teacher or a classified person's family member passed away, uh, something like that. They're the ones that would go and buy the cards, make sure that everybody signs it and gives it to that person um, who's either celebrating or sadly, going through something really difficult. So that's just social committee. And it's a lot more work than you think. So that's something to consider. There's also adjunct duties for winter performance and spring performance. Again, this is just based on how my school did it. Every school is different. So if you're going to do winter program, that means you're in charge of the Christmas or holiday festivities. So if the students are performing, it's your job to get the teachers to have their kids perform, either doing Hanukkah or Christmas songs or whatever it is that you're doing. And the same for spring. If you're doing a show, a play, music, whatever, it's your job to organize that event. There are also duties that include like kitchen cleanup. Every Friday you have to clean. Oh, no, that's once a week. Yeah, every wing had to be in charge of the kitchen. So like wing 1, okay, you're doing the first week. You have to make sure the kitchen is clean, the microwave, the coffee pot, the refrigerator, all these little things that the custodian doesn't do. That's just adjunct duty. Okay. So just know that you're going to have to sign up for one or two adjunct duties in addition to all your lesson planning, all your grading, all report cards, all parent conferences. Okay. Fourth thing, number four is committees and pilot programming. So committees can be usually veteran teachers do the pilot program. So let's say your adoption is up, your ELA. It's usually between 7 and 8 years, depending on what the funds are coming in. So let's say, okay, next year we're adopting a new program. We're getting rid of the old one, and now it's about 3 or 4 teachers that are going to pilot this program, and you usually have 2 or 3 to choose from. So those teachers take about 6 weeks, and they get the program and they pilot it to their class, and then they do the assessments and they get feedback from the kids whether they liked it, do they like the stories, do they like the curriculum, do the teachers like it, and then those pilot teachers give that information to the rest of the staff. So that's one committee. There's also committees for tech. There's committees for the union. There's committees for the science. There's a million committees, and you might be asked by your administrator to join a committee, which means like I was in union, so every Monday, not every Monday, but once a month on Mondays, I had to go to a union meeting, which was after our staff meeting. Okay, so staff meetings went till 4. That was another one that I have on my list. So yeah, 3 would be like, yeah, you have staff meetings. In the beginning of the school year, of course, you're going to have lots of staff meetings to find out what's going on, what's required, etc. But I felt like a lot of the staff meetings, the administrator just kept us because she could, or because maybe she was being pressured by the superintendent. But ideally, the staff meetings were a joke, in my opinion. It's something that you could have written on a 3-line email, like, don't forget to do this, this, and this, or put it up on the whiteboard. Hey, reminder, whatever. A good principal, a good administrator won't do that, won't make you go every Monday. They will allow you to use that time to catch up on your grading or whatever it is that you need to do. I feel that administrators that are very insecure and need to micromanage, it's just their way of fluffing their feathers and saying, oh, it's Monday meeting, we're going to go over yada yada. And it's basically them just talking and listening to them feel important. Because you have to remember, teachers are there till 2:30 or 2:45-ish. Administrators have to stay till 4 regardless. So what do they care? They have to stay till 4 anyway, so they're going to have the meeting because they're, maybe like, well, I have to stay till 4, so I'm going to make the staff stay till 4. So you really need to figure out, who your administrator is and whether they're going to be supportive or just kind of micromanage you. Okay, that was number 2. That was number 3. So the number 2 reason that you might want to change your mind about being a teacher is recess duties. So in middle school, they don't have that because middle school doesn't have recess, I don't think, because they have PE. But somebody has to be in charge of dismissal, right? So if you're an elementary school teacher, you have the gate duty. At ours was a gate duty because it was kind of like an open campus. So we had to make sure that parents weren't just kind of stumbling in, especially if you get an irate parent that's out of control. Then you have the recess duty. We didn't do lunch duty, but there was a duty at my kids' school that they called the bummer duty, and it was after school. So, for example, the kids that were picked up late, you had after a certain time. So let's say dismissals at 2:45, 3 o'clock. The leftover kids would sit on a bench or sit in front of a certain office, and the parents that were coming late actually had to sign out so that we could verify that these late kiddos were picked up. And the number one reason you may want to change your mind about being a teacher are cumes. So cumes are uh, it's a folder that stays with you from pre-K to senior and high school. And the cume follows the student wherever they go, whether they stay at that same school district the whole time, it goes to the middle school, it goes to the high school, or whether they move. So a lot of the times you'll get cumes from different states, depending on where the kid is moving from. But that folder, that cume file, that's called a cume, but it's cumulative file, follows those students wherever they go. And kindergarten teachers have it the worst, or TK, depending, because they have to fill out the student's name, the parent's name, address, the phone number, the relative, because they're new to the school. So all that cume has to be filled out. After that, you know how we take class pictures and they have those little squares? Ideally, that's why you take class pictures. I mean, I know that parents like to buy the pictures, but ideally you buy those class pictures for the cumulative file so that you can see what a child looks like year after year after year. And then in the cume file, you are responsible for end of the year. You have to level them in math, a 1, 2, or 3, reading, a 1, 2, or 3, and I think it's social studies and science, a 1, 2, or 3. If they are ELs, you have to fill out a paper and put it in their file, and then you also have to show the progress of where they were at from beginning, middle of the school, end of school year, and you have to write that in. You have to make sure their address is current, their phone number is current, which usually never is, at least in our district. Um, it's just so in depth. And it takes, if you have 30 kids, God forbid 35, it takes a good long minute. So even though you're at the end of the school year, you'll notice that teachers are super stressed because not only are they closing out the end of the school year and trying to do assessments, trying to get the grades, trying to do the final parent conference, take everything down from the classroom. You know, you can't just leave your classroom up. You have to tear everything down. You have to put all the books away. It has to be barren. Okay. You got to do these cume files. And that is the number one reason you should consider whether or not you really want to go into teaching. If that's not a big deal, then teaching might be for you. So to recap, number 5 was adjunct duties. Number 4 is having to be on a committee or in a pilot program. Number 3, having to do recess duties and other kind of bummer duties. Number 2 is having to go to weekly meetings. And those weekly meetings are just staff meetings. That's not even a meeting that you have to go to if you are non-compliant, you're not reaching your scores. And the number one reason you may want to reconsider becoming a teacher are cume files. Now, if that's something that doesn't bother you and you say, okay, that's part of the territory, great. But I want the new teachers going in to be well aware of all these abundant amount of duties that are required by you that they don't teach you in your credential program. I call it teacher school. Okay. So you have to do your lesson planning depending on your principal. You know, you'll have to have your lessons on your desk or by computer by end of day on Friday for the following week. But some of them want monthly lesson plans, and then also some of them want a year plan. Okay, what are your goals? So you have to do your lesson planning. You have to get to know your curriculum. If you're a new teacher, it's like super overwhelming because you don't know what the curriculum is. And if you're a new teacher and you're at the end of adoption year, not only will you have to plan all those EL activities, but then you might not even be able to use it the next year if you're adopting a new program. So it becomes tricky. I really suggest you meet with a mentor teacher or a supporting teacher. I was both, that can really assist you with how to prepare, and they will know when your adoptions are up. how in depth you should get. Because, like, again, if you're on your last year of adoption, you don't want to go hardcore and doing all these creative things if the next year you can't reuse it. So that's part of the plan as well. I loved teaching. uh, in spite of all the, adjunct and committee duties and all of that, I really did enjoy it at my time there. But like I said in another post that, when we switched summer schools 2012, 2013 and started going back in August, I never really just could get into the swing of things. And I also had a new administrator who was horrible administrator, couldn't stand me. She was just really two-faced and horrible. And so that it was another indicator that, maybe I need to make a move. And so I did get my doctorate. And um, yeah, she just was so jealous that I got my doctorate, like my PhD. It's like, what is your problem? You should be glad that your teachers are wanting to go to the next level. I didn't want to take her job. I didn't want to be an administrator. I wanted to be a professor and do what I'm doing with you all, teaching you the ropes. And this way you get it without having to spend a whole lot of money or extra money on courses that the teachers, the professors will be telling you how to do anyways. So that is my rant and rave for this afternoon. If you have any questions or want me to get more in depth on um, what it means to be a teacher beyond what you know a teacher to be, just hit me up. And if you can subscribe and like, I can also put some more videos on here. I'm also on Instagram at Dr. Blissful or Blissfulness, one of the two, because I think Blissful was taken. I'm also on Facebook at Mindful Your Life. And what else? Twitter, X, whatever it's called. And I'm also on LinkedIn at Dr. Blissful. Okay, I will see you next time in our next session. Shaka, how is it? Oh, yeah, I forgot to say, I am blissfully feisty today. So I hope that all the information I gave you was useful. And again, like, subscribe, and ring the bell, all that good stuff. And we'll see you on the next go round. Okay, bye.